fun, basically. I think motorcycling is just, it's my life. I mean, it's the most fun thing I do. It consumes you. So motorcycles are awesome.
Basically a prosthetic limb for me to go fast.
What is the word motorcycle mean to you?
Passion. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's, you know, anything. There's an old saying that 4 wheels move the body and 2 wheels move the soul. And I couldn't believe in that more. It really is. If I ever need a release or something of that nature, there's something that's deep in motorcycling that it allows you to release in a manner that isn't consistent with the lateral forces that you're experiencing in a car. There's something about vertical forces and leaning into a car that's really.
When you say it makes you feel more connected to the bike and your ride.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you feel alive. There's such a high consequence for mistake that it forces you to live in the moment. I think that's what it is. I had to put my finger on it.
How many bikes do you think are in here? 4,000?
My name is Will Lundy. Most people call me Chad. It's too many Williams in the family, I guess. 24 years old now, and I'm single. I ride a 2007 Yamaha R6. Circuit-wise, I race in the Weir circuit. It's Western Eastern Racing Association. In the Sportsman Series, which is it's like the southeast area. So there's a bunch of tracks up there. We go to Savannah, we go to Jennings, Florida, Birmingham, like Barber, and then Talladega, race down there, and then NOLA, which is in New Orleans. I had a rival last year. He's actually one of my good friends, little kid Drake Beecham. Drake and I would go back and forth every race. Once I got a little bit faster motorcycle, I was able to get away. But when I was on the 750, it was hard to keep up in the corners with those little bikes.
My name is Drake Beecham. I'm a 14-year-old youth road racer. I like to work on my bikes, maintain and shoot my guns. I love visiting with my family, and this is what I'm racing is a Ninja 250. I've been racing for 9 years. I've been riding since I was 4, and I started racing when I was 5.
I was 3 years old. My uncle raced motocross, and I wanted to race or ride something just to be like him, I guess. So my mom told me if I learned how to ride a bike well enough, she'd beat me a motorcycle. So I turned 4, learned how to ride a bike, got a motorcycle, 4th birthday. First like road bike was a Yamaha XS650. It was just a straight turd, you know. It was a lot of fun. Had to build it. Bought it for $500. So it was cool. And then got the bug and got a Bandit 1200 and totaled it like a week later. My mom still doesn't know about that, so sorry. But yeah, I got this one from a friend. It was wrecked in the front. The forks were bent. So I put new forks on it. I got it for a really, really good deal. And mods wise, just Superbike bodywork. I'm trying to think. Vortex clip-ons. Just did a few odds and ends, trying to make it easier to ride. Yeah. And got a Scott steering stabilizer from my boss, and just getting it stable. Most of the stuff for this bike that I didn't have already, I got through the shop, and he has really helped me out like tremendously. Jamie Murray is a good friend of mine. He races with me. Jamie gave me a good deal on some body work. Basically just get it pieced together well enough to ride, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm just dialing it in. I've probably got maybe $3,000 in it right now.
Well, I heard you did from the guys waiting to see where it was, or no? Where was it? 3. Really? Or 345. I ran off oh, way back to the surplus. Gee, and I ran off the same place.
Basically, I've not touched the engine on the bike, but I put an exhaust system on. You know, it's got the full custom dyno tune dual maps. You know, I got a race fuel map, a pump fuel map, and things of that nature. I got the block off plates, you know, the air filter, the full exhaust, and aside from that, you know, I've got all the electronics with the quick shifter and you know, the launch control and all that. And it's just a simple 2-step system, but there's nothing that's been touched on the bike as far as the clutch or the engine is concerned. It's just stock motors the way it came out of the factory. My name is Jamie Murray. I'm 23 years old, and I race with Weira in the expert division. I race the Southeast Series.
Before you started racing, obviously, you had motorcycle roots somewhere else.
Well, actually, I'm a little atypical as far as that's concerned. I didn't get my first motorcycle until I was 18. Actually, I was never allowed a dirt bike, or you know, I had bicycles. So I suppose I had a little bit as far as that's concerned, but I didn't have any motorcycling experience. I rode an RM80 in a gravel parking lot for about 5 minutes before I bought my first CBR 600 when I was 18.
My parents, they actually encourage it, and Mama, she's fine with it. She's like, go out there and win, have fun, do your best.
Pretty much. My mom, like the other day, I was like, hey Mom, I got the bike to 160. She was like, oh no.
What have I
She's not pumped when she hears how fast this new one is.
Did she ever come see you ride?
Actually, she hasn't. I race in the Southeast, and she's in the North. So yeah, I'll go up to Mid Ohio this year, and she's gonna watch me there. She's gonna bring the motor home down, have a comfortable place to sleep.
Well, a full season. If I were gonna run a full season, realistically, you need to be spending about $1,000 a weekend to be competitive.
About $560 or $600.
Honestly, I'm pretty devastated 95% of the year. Track days and racing's super expensive. I can venture to say I spend about $1,000 a weekend going racing, just roughly. And you know, when we have 2-3 race weekends in a month, I'm crushed.
How do you manage paying that much for a weekend and being a 14-year-old?
Odd jobs, I have to do that 4-letter word work. Manual work, I'll do that. I worked at a sheep farm. I've done a lot of stuff. I've only had to do this once, and that was for a little bit, and had to borrow a little money from my parents, and I paid them back in less than a week.
I'm always looking for more sponsors, absolutely. But I mean, I've got a bunch of good guys behind me right now that are treating me well. I mean, obviously, US 129 Photos has been one of the bigger ones. Honda's helped me out a lot with you know, the contingency program that they offer. I paid a large portion of the bike off between the time I bought it and when it went out of. You have to be within 2 years on new equipment to be paid for Honda, and it went out last year. But they treated me very well, and they were very fast. US 129 Photos, Pitbull, Dunlop tires. You know, they've helped me out, you know, a little bit here and there. Yeah, Cycle Gear, EBC, Pitbull, Vortex. Yeah.
Starting out, I'd like to thank Apex Manufacturing, Ballistic, and Cycle Gear, Doherty Motorsports, Impact Safety Armor, Jason Saul Speed Academy, Lionheart Moto, Racer Cafe, Red Fox Racing. And I'd also like to thank Something Extra Cycles, Sport Bikes for Hire, Sport Bike Supercoat, Sport Bike Track Time, The Hub, Two Wheel Vinyl, US 129 Photos, Vape FX, Pirelli, and Nitec helmets.
I mean, some sponsors I'd love to have be. Actually, these guys would be awesome to have. It's Jamie's old bodywork, so US 129 Photos. Repping them until something comes along, I guess. I'd like to have like Vortex, you know, just some backing, something to help it easier to go race. You know, somebody I can represent well, and I can familiar with their product, I guess.
Yeah. Is it worth it?
Oh yeah. Even if you crash, it's worth it. Just going fast is incredible. I love every minute. I crashed.
What was that like?
Too many times. It's terrifying the first time you do it.
What went through your head as you were laying the bike down?
God, please don't hurt the bike.
You ever been down?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely hit the ground a few times.
Stupid swear to God.
That's for sure.
What's that like?
It hurts. Usually, not so much when you hit the ground and slide. I took the front at Road Atlanta coming into 10B one time. You at the top of 6th gear, about 160 in the wet. At the maybe 155, 160. It was at the top. I was on the rev limiter. As soon as I popped up to touch, grab the brakes, just too much initial braking, front tough, down I went. And that crash didn't hurt me, but then again, I've tucked the front at NOLA doing 80 and re-broken, a wrist that just healed and, tore open the knee and things like that. But
Honestly, the only thing that helped me back in that race was that my arm tensed up a little bit and was hurting and felt like somebody was digging a knife into my arm. But even at that, I was just like, suck it up, gotta keep going.
It preoccupies your mind in that corner, but everywhere else you're just like, just don't crash, just race, and there's so much going on that you really can't think about anything else. I mean, it's pretty hard to get over that one corner at first, but you'll be fine. I'm losing my mind about when they start calling first call for my race. I'm like, oh God, here it comes again. Because the only thing I'm thinking is I'm gonna go out there, either make a fool of myself or crash. And then I'll throw on some decent music if I can listen to some ones that are all. I'll just basically like get in a crouch and go through the corners by myself in my head, and just kind of hum a little tune to myself. Usually some Masiahu or Tupac. Just some gangster stuff to get me loosened up. And then prepare the bike wise and just keep it on the warmers till the last minute and make sure everything's solid, and then, give her a kiss goodbye and we'll roll. That's basically it. Take it off the stands and get down there.
if we're on third call or second call, I like to go ahead and sit down in the chair, have all my leathers, have everything on, have my helmet on, and then, or have all my gloves and everything on. Then whenever they say third call, I've already got my earplugs in, I just put my helmet on, latch it up, and I stay quiet. I usually stay quiet until the beginning of the race, but whenever I get on the line, I've got, I'll either do one of two things. I'll either be completely quiet and focused, or I'll, be yelling or something at somebody and, trying to get everybody pumped up and ready to go. Sometimes I'll, try to toy with people a little bit. So
I'll say, God, please just let me just work hard and to be able to stay safe, and just to be able to ride to my full potential and the ability that you've given me, to let me use it and to show that you've given me this. And I'll go out and I'll do my best. I'll ride aggressive. Sometimes it really is just kind of like, what am I gonna do? Just like doing all this stuff, and I've had some people call me, they're like, hey, you wanna do this? And I gotta work on the bike. I'm like, bicycle? No, race bike. What do you mean? Explain all this stuff to them. Oh, okay, bye. Because I love it, and it's something that I'm passionate about, and that's a lack that I see today, is people don't really have a passion for something that they want to devote their time into that is really meaningful. I sometimes talk to them. It's just like, I don't really know how to engage the conversations. It's just really awkward. It's kind of like how they feel talking to adults. I'm more comfortable talking to adults than I am kids my own age. It's just really weird, but I've tried to learn how to talk to kids my own age. But if I talk to kids my own age at the track, just fine. Actually, it's not really like that, because most people think that you're a liar when you say that you race motorcycles, and then even when you show them pictures, they're like, oh, you just photoshopped that. And then that's when the point that you just said, okay, and you move on. It's nothing that you can really argue and try to win them over, and then you shouldn't have to be like that. You shouldn't have to work that hard for someone to accept that you race motorcycles. I have them tied right now. It's between Barber and Jennings.
Barber and then Talladega.
Barber or Talladega?
Like Guy Martin, like watching the TT riders, that's the ultimate goal. You know, like either race AMA or go race the TT. That's all I want. All I want out of life right there. That and my uncle, and my whole family, we're just always competing in something. We're super competitive, so yeah, we just try and go fast.
It's in your genes.
The highest level I want to get to is MotoGP World Champion at least once in my life.
Yeah.
But I would like to continue on and be Rossi and all these other guys. Sure that the Americans still have it.
Well, you know, I'm kind of typical in that regard. Valentino Rossi was really one of the key players. I love the psychological games that he plays with his opponents and things of that nature. It's fun to watch.
I think one of the favorite times I ever had at the track was we went down to Savannah, which is Roebling Road Raceway, and then it rained torrentially. I crashed that weekend. It was terrible, but afterwards we went to Tybee Island for a week, which is right down the road in Savannah. So we just stayed there in Tybee for a week with a bunch of friends. It was awesome. Great week. Great racing experience, you know.
Rode Atlanta Cycle Jam 2013, and it was really fun. That was the most fun I've had on this bike. It was just, everything clicked. I was going fast, tires were gripping, everything was just perfect. Me and a friend came in contact and I almost went into some trees. When I hit him, I ran out of track, hit him, went off, and I'm not trying to be motocross. Don't do motocross. But I was doing that and almost hit some trees, went around, got back onto the track, and everybody had at least a 20 to 30 second lead on me, and I worked all the way up to third. From that far back, it was just like pretty good.
I'd have to say it was my novice year racing with another racer, Jason Duplantis. He had an R6. I was on a CBR. You know, came back to what I was talking about earlier with you know, disparities in motorcycle performance. You know, that race he happened to have a little more motor than I did. But we had, you know, I kept going around the outside of him in turn 5 in a left-hander. And I'd done it, you know, I did it the first lap, and, you know, it all worked out great. You know, everything was good. I was in the lead, and then it was at Roebling Road, gone to straightaway, he'd fly by me. Next lap, I'd go around him on the outside again. We'd get onto the front straightaway, he'd fly by me again. I tried to outbrake him in the one, but I couldn't. You know, he'd had a little bit of a gap. He couldn't get there. And I went around the outside for the third time. And usually the third time's the charm, but you know, I had a little bit of a moment, ended up losing the rear, and so I was over, you know, I had everything the bike had, you know, I had it just maxed out on lean. I picked my elbow up, the rear end started to lose, and as soon as I did, I just jammed my knee down, picked the bike up, the thing, you know, luckily it didn't spit me off, you know, it high-sided, hooked. I went over the rumble strips. I was going real wide to go around the outside, and I picked the bike up, went over the rumble strips, and then came. I saw that he was about to pass me again, and I wasn't good with that. So I got back on the gas as I was going off track and wheelied over the rumble strip, through the grass, and back into the pit, back into the onto the track, and back out in front of him because he was getting ready to take it. So I just went all the way to the edge of the track and parked it, picked it back up, squirted it back out of the corner, and we were coming out of the last corner at the last lap, and I was in the lead, and I knew that he had more power than I did. And I'd been kind of setting him up for this move the whole race, because he would always pass me on the right side, and every time he'd do it, I'd move a little bit closer to the wall, which forced him to see if he would still, if he still had a heavy preference for that right side, or if he'd switch and go to the left, because there's more room on the left at this point. But he kept going to the right. So the last lap, I knew he was going to go to the right. Come out of the last corner, hit my shifts perfectly, and make a beeline to the right for the wall, because I'm going to get as close as I can to the wall and not let him pass me on the right. I get, the wall's maybe about right here. I'm cutting over to it, and all of a sudden I see a front wheel coming up, and I was like, I had the line, I had the right, I could have, went over, but it's fun, it's racing, no one wants to get hurt, so you leave a little bit of room, and then we went down the wall, just buzzing the wall, everybody that was standing on the wall ended up backing up, I just remember seeing everybody's face when we flew by, and there was just a tornado of dust and stuff. He ended up getting me at the line, but I didn't enjoy it probably as much as he did, but I liked it.
Do you say shows about crashes? I don't really care.
Well, I say to those people that there's certainly a level of risk that's involved, but you can manage that level of risk. So you can decide, okay, I'm not going to go into this corner at 10 tenths. You don't have to be running 10 tenths constantly to learn new information. I mean, I can go into a corner at 80%, decently hard on the brakes, pushing it a little bit, enough to get heat in the tires and still have fun, but any amount of seat time you're going to do. I mean, you might get into a corner one time where something goes just a little bit wrong, but since you've got that extra 20% in reserve, you learn something from the situation. You correct a mistake that happened mid-corner, and you still make it out of the corner, and you've learned something. So I think that sometimes people get up on their high horse a little bit as far as, judging people that ride on the track versus on the street. I believe that you should certainly take steps to make sure that you're not putting anyone else at risk. But provided that you're just putting yourself at risk and that you're riding on the street with, in a responsible manner. I mean, you can have fun while other people aren't close by. So there's certainly a right and a wrong way to do it.
Honestly, Guy Martin says it's better than anybody. I mean, if it weren't dangerous, I probably wouldn't be out there doing it. When I quit getting the buzz, I'll quit doing it. Yeah. Until then, roll on.